Professor Sudarshan wants to join, so I'll just send him the link.
Sure. Yeah. The link that I shared with you on
Yes,
email
yes, yes.
should work. Yeah. Um, Hi,
So,
everyone. Good evening. We'll be starting in maybe a minute or two as some of you are still pouring in. So we'll wait for maybe 1 or 2 more minutes before we get started.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, Professor Sudarshan, have you joined?
Yeah, I just joined the webinar, Vinay.
Okay, okay.
Professor Vinay, Professor Sudarshan, we'll just maybe wait another 1 or 2 minutes and we'll start at 8:05. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, yes, that's fine.
Because I am using Vinay's link, I show up as Vinay on the screen. Is there something you can
Yeah.
do about it? Send me
Uh,
the link.
yeah, I think you should be able to rename yourself, or let me try doing that.
Let me see. Yeah, if you can change name tag. Yeah, there is an option. I'll do it. I can do
I
it.
think I did it. Just check if this
Oh,
is
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I think we should get started in interest of time while folks will keep pouring in.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much everyone for joining in. A very, very good evening to all of you, to the faculty members who've joined us from IIT Bombay, and to the candidates who've joined us, in this webinar. And we welcome you all to the discussion. And We hope that you find this useful. So the agenda for today's discussion is to explain more details about e-postgraduate diploma in computer science and engineering, which is a newly launched PG diploma from IIT Bombay. So we'll be hearing from the faculty about what this entails, what are the different types of courses, what's the overall flow, what to expect, and what's the eligibility criteria, what this is and what this is not. And we hope that this helps you get a better understanding of the PG diploma, so that you can, of course, take a call accordingly whether this makes sense for some of you, or whether it doesn't make sense for some of you. Uh, Please do use the chat option to raise your queries if you have any, and we'll maybe at some point during the session, or as we cover the agenda, we'll cover that. You also have a Q&A window available. I think it's more convenient if you can use that Q&A, because that's easily managed. So use these for raising your queries, and we'll address it throughout the session. And we also have some time at the end of the session if there's anything that gets missed. So with that, we'll kick right off. Quickly, I'll introduce the speakers today. So we have Professor Vinay from Department of Computer Science at IIT Bombay. We also have Professor Sudarshan joining us today. Professor Sudarshan, apologies, I couldn't uh, mention your profile here as it was a last minute thing. But welcome, Professor Sudarshan, to the discussion. So we'll be hearing from Professor Vinay and Professor Sudarshan more about e-postgraduate diploma and the different courses. And myself, my name is Mohit. I am a part of the Great Learning team, and you'll be interacting uh, with with folks from Great Learning also throughout the process for this e-postgraduate diploma. As we are looking at the from a registration point of view, and for those of you who register from a program management and all the non-academic aspects, Great Learning takes care of that. So you'll be interacting with folks from my team as well. So with that, we will quickly kick this off, and I'll hand it over to Professor Vinay to take us through some of the agenda items for today. So over to you, Professor Vinay.
Yeah, thanks, Mohit, and thanks everyone for joining. So this is an exciting program we are starting. This is the first year we will be conducting the EPGD program. Before we talk about the specifics of the program, a little bit about our department. Our department needs no introduction. In fact, it's the most sought after department at the undergraduate level in engineering in India. In fact, most of the top 50 students in JEE join our department. And uh, and of course, even at the master's level, many of the toppers in the GATE exam join our department. And our department has faculty who are highly accomplished. Some of them have won awards like Infosys Prize. Some are fellows of the ACM and IEEE. Those are the largest, I would say, largest professional organizations in computer science and electrical engineering, respectively. A few of my colleagues have won the Bhatnagar Award. That is one of the highest awards given to researchers below the age of 45 in India, a Padma Shri Award, and so on. And we publish every year in top tier venues, the very best in computer science, the A-star conferences and journals. And the faculty has attracted projects, government and from private industry, worth over 50 crores. And some of the alumni, have won President of India Gold Medal Award, Distinguished Alumni Awards from their universities from which they graduated. And of course, I don't have to say much about, I don't have to tell you about what our students have accomplished. Pretty much many of them are among the who's who in the industry and academia and even in government organizations. We can move on to the next slide. So, who is the EPGD for? A little bit about this program. So this is not just sort of to touch up your CV, for example. It's not just something to give, just to give you a little bit of an exposure to some of the advanced technologies in computer science. So this is a full-fledged postgraduate program in the sense that the courses will be equivalent to a postgraduate course at IIT. So it will be, there will be we will go quite deep into the subject. We will give you fairly challenging assignments, and you should expect to spend quite a bit of time during every week to work on the various courses. So, for example, if you do one course, you should expect at least 3 hours of lectures and another 3 hours at least to digest the material and to work on your assignments. Right? So this is who would it be useful for? Well, software developers and engineers who want to enhance their expertise in programming, computing systems, even in AI. Data scientists and machine learning practitioners, want to go deeper into the theoretical foundations. Maybe you want to keep track of what are the latest technologies, what is happening right now in the field, and one advantage of having professors teach you who are working in that field is that you see things as they are happening, maybe much before they even enter practice or in the industry. You get to know what's happening right at the moment and you get a preview of what's happening in the future, what will happen in the future in the field. And that may even give you ideas for doing your own startups or having your own companies, for example. Okay? So also IT professionals who want to stay at the forefront of the advantage of the advances in computing systems, professionals who want to advance their careers, the EPGD program is something that will boost your CV definitely. And also, it's not just for people who are already in the industry, but also those who are fresh graduates, those who have just finished their BTechs, for example, and who want to do some postgraduate work even while they are taking up their jobs for the first time. Professor Sudarshan, do you want to add anything?
Yeah. So, what is it that is different from this EPGD and a large number of certification courses which are available? One of the important things is, like our regular courses, we will be covering concepts in depth and principles, and not just give you a high level overview of some programming tool or something like that, but we go into the depths, the concepts, the fundamentals. So just like we do for our regular students, we will be doing the same for those who are taking the CPGD.
So next slide, more. So here are a few highlights of the program. So the every single course will be designed and delivered by IIT Bombay CSE faculty. So one or two of these faculties have just retired, but they were for more than 30 plus years, they were in the department. Right? But essentially it's mainly by current or recently retired CSE faculty members. So the delivery of the lectures will be mainly in live sessions every week, but some professors may choose to have recorded material also. But you should expect at least one weekly live session per course. And those live sessions would be for, it could be for live lectures, or it could be for doubt clearing sessions, or maybe for explaining a project and things like that, which you would have to do. Right? So the lectures will be conducted online, and you would be expected to complete 6 courses in order to get the EPGD certification. Right? And this is suitable for working professionals as well as fresh graduates, like I mentioned earlier. So, of course, most of the students would be at different locations in the country, but still there would be something like a classroom experience in the sense that there would be these sort of online sessions where there could be discussions, and so you would have that peer-to-peer learning experience as you would have similar in a classroom. Okay. So at least once a semester, you would be required to come to the IIT Bombay campus, definitely for the exam period, final exam period. But besides that, too, there may be occasions for you to come to campus. That, of course, would be you would be told about, and so that way you would get to meet the faculty members and get a feel of the IIT Bombay campus too. So another important thing is that you would earn IIT Bombay credits, and these credits can be saved in the academic bank of credits. This ABC program was initiated with the NEP 2020, and this allows students to take courses from different higher educational institutions in India, and in case the academic institution allows it, you could use credits earned in one institution in order to get, let's say, a degree in another institution, right? So you would be part of an in-person graduation ceremony at IIT Bombay campus, and you would have the prestigious IIT Bombay alumni status, right? And of course, there would you would get personalized assistance with a dedicated program manager, and I believe so. Mohit, could you say a little bit about the personalized assistance? So, is this
Yes,
through Great Learning?
that's correct. That's correct. So yes, this is through Great Learning, and typically a program manager is assigned to every learner, like to a batch, and their role is to ensure that the learners are on track and they're completing their journey on tracks. If they're attending the sessions, if they're stuck somewhere, so the idea is to mentor and guide them to keep them on track and help them complete the courses on time. So they'll be the first point of contact for all the learners for any logistical, academic, non-academic queries, and then they will help route the queries to the relevant person. So that's how this works. Also, just to add one point, the fact that folks will be able to attend the graduation ceremony and get IT Bombay alumni status, this only applies to those who are completing all the six courses and getting the postgraduate diploma. For those who choose to not take the diploma and only take the credits, these points might not apply, will not apply. So this only applies to those who complete all the six courses and then go for EPG diploma from IT. So just that fact. Over to you, Professor Vinay.
Professor Sudarshan, anything you want to add? Any point?
No, nothing.
Okay, we can go to the next slide. So, what this EPGD is not, so it's not a superficial skilling program as Professor Sudarshan mentioned. So, this would be like a regular PG course at IIT Bombay. So, it would have a lot of depth, and you would be required to spend a fair amount of time every week on every course. So this is not an undergraduate level program, it's a PG level program. It's not just a gate preparation course. So we would be going into the principles, concepts, but also in a fair amount of depth. Right? So this is also not just to give a high level picture, which maybe a CTO or CXO level executive would want, just to make strategic decision making. So this would, of course, it gives the high level picture of things, but it would also deal with the nuts and bolts of various aspects, and it would require you to get your hands dirty, at least in, it depends on various courses. Some may require you to do some systems work, and others may require more programming or maybe more theoretical work. Right? So this is not a short-term boot camp. This is for at least 3 months, 3.5 months. Each semester would be 3.5 months, and we would have several semesters, one after the other. Right? So this is a like almost mirroring the regular semester schedule at IIT. You would have to spend several months working in depth on every course. Okay? And you would have to put in fair amount of individual study for every course. So you cannot should not leave things for the exam, for example, or cram at the end. That is not going to work. You should, if you take a single course, like I said, at least 6 hours a week minimum you should expect to spend on each course. So it's not recommended to do more than two courses per semester, especially if you're working, right? So if you're completely free, then of course, why not do all the three courses which you are planning to offer per semester? But if you're working, then one or two courses, maybe two courses at most, is what you should do, right? So of course, the final decision is left up to you about how much effort you can put in and how many courses you can take. So next slide. So this is the structure of the program. So you would expect to do 36 credits. So each course is 6 credits. So essentially, effectively, the amount of effort you put in is reflected in the amount of credits, and each. So you can think of it, 6 hours a week is like 6 credits. You can think of it that way. So each course would be worth 6 credits, and so if you do 6 courses, you would get 36 credits, and that would be enough for you to get the EPGD diploma. Right? And we have split the various courses into three baskets. I have shown that over here. So the first basket is theory and practice of advanced programming. The second basket is computing systems. And the third basket is artificial intelligence and machine learning. Right? So currently in the first offering, we are offering three courses in each basket. We'll go a little bit into detail in each of the courses. So there will be 3 semesters effectively, and in each semester we will be offering one course in each of the baskets. Okay? And out of these 9 courses, which we will be offering over a period of 1 year, so there will be a fall semester, a spring semester next year, and a summer semester next summer. So 3 of those semesters, and so totally 9 courses will be offered, and you can take 6 courses out of these, and you can even do more than six. Right? But if you do at least six, you pass the 6 courses, then you can get the EPGD diploma. Okay? So you don't have to finish 6 courses within 1 year. You can take longer than 1 year. Right? But one of the requirements we have for the EPGD diploma is that you should pass at least one course in each of these baskets. So the idea is that we want students to have enough breadth so that they have some experience of theory and practice of advanced programming, some experience of computing systems, and some experience in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And they could, of course, do also two in each basket. You could do that so that you have wide breadth and depth in each of these baskets. But you might also prefer to do just one course in, let's say, in each of these, and have depth only in one or two of the baskets. That too is possible. It depends on what you want to specialize in. Right? So you can do the courses over a period of 1 year, but you can also take more than 1 year. But in order to get the diploma, you should do at least one course in each of the three baskets. Right? So, there any other point, Mohit, which I missed in this? So, we will subsequently go a little bit into depth into each of these courses.
Yeah, no, Professor Vinay, I think you covered everything.
Okay, and the maximum amount of period is, I believe, 3 years, right, to
That's
complete the
correct.
program.
Yes.
Yes. So if you join now, for example, you would be expected to complete the 36 credits in a period of 3 years.
Correct.
Yes.
I'll move on to the next one.
Yes. So there, like I mentioned, there will be 3 terms. Maybe semester is not the right word to use, but effectively there will be 3 terms. August to December this year, and we will be offering these 3 courses: algorithms and complexity from the first basket, database and big data system internals in the second basket, and foundational mathematics for data science in the third basket. Then in term two, which will the duration will be from January to April next year, we will offer web and software security, introduction to blockchains from the second basket, and natural language processing and generative AI from the third basket. And the third term will be from May to August next year. And the courses will be program developers toolbox, cryptography and network security, and foundations of computer vision.
If I
Yes.
may just interrupt very briefly, the
Yes.
first term it says August to December, but it will actually start for properly in late August or early September.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In future, we will move it back to August, but this year it's
Yes.
going to start a little bit later.
Yes, so it will be, yeah, it won't be the beginning of August, but towards the end of August, the second half, we will have some introductory, let's say, talks to introduce the course, and we will begin the actual lectures from September 1st. Next slide. So here's a little bit about the details of the first basket, the theory and practice of advanced programming. So the first course is the program developers toolbox, which will be taught by Professor Amitabha Sanyal. And so this will take you into the little bit advanced topics related to programming environments and software development. So you will learn a little bit in detail about the Unix operating system, the C++ programming environment, and various software management tools. We will also cover Python programming, a few popular libraries such as NumPy and SciPy, web programming with HTML, CSS, Java, script, and also some elements of AI programming. And professor will also give you a course project, so you will have to do some development, and the various topics covered, you will have to actually implement or use many of the ideas, so you will get an hands-on experience on various topics covered in this course. So the second course will be taught by Professor Abhiram Ranade. It's on algorithms and complexity. And many of you, I'm sure, if you have done a undergraduate program in CSE or IT, have already taken a course on algorithms and complexity. So this would be like a second or advanced course, which we would typically offer in to our MTech and MS students. So you will go you will study the various algorithms to a deeper level. You will study things like induction, recursion, divide and conquer, dynamic programming, topics which you may have covered maybe more superficially in your undergraduate program, but here you would go in depth, and it's not just that you understand what the algorithm is and apply it, but you would also understand why, at least by the end of the course, you would understand why the algorithm works, why is its complexity so and so, and if you have to make a choice between various algorithms in a practical setting, then why would you choose one over the other? What are the various things you would have to look at? Right? So things like undecidability, polynomial time problems, complexity classes, NP hardness, NP completeness, and so on would also be covered. And the professor would also expect you to understand and maybe derive proofs for various topics covered. So it's not enough to just have a high level understanding, but you would also have to prove what is the complexity, for example, of a particular algorithm. Right? A third course is web and software security. This would be covered by Professor Kameswari Chebrolu. And as you know, security is a very hot topic. Cybersecurity is extremely important. And this particular course will look at a part of cybersecurity, one main aspect of it, mainly focusing on web and software security. So you would cover things like various attacks possible in web, on the web, and in web applications. You will also learn some fundamentals of Linux security and OS security. Then there are things like the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. So there's this organization which lists what are the current top vulnerabilities related to the web. So you will look at, you will study those, and you will also understand how to mitigate and how to understand, but also how to mitigate such security risks related to the web. Anything, Professor Sudarshan, you want to add?
Yeah, just to add a little bit for two of the courses, the Program Developers Toolbox. Programming is evolving rapidly these days, and this particular course will bring you up to speed on how programming is done today with current concepts, current tools, and programming languages. And as far as web and software security is concerned, security is a huge issue these days. And every person out there in the software industry absolutely needs to understand security. Even if you don't deal with it directly, if you're a programmer, you need to understand this stuff. And unfortunately, it's not, earlier it was not given enough importance. So many people wouldn't have done this in their undergrad courses, or things have evolved since they did it. So I think both are very important from the programming viewpoint, and the algorithms and complexity is fundamentals. If you need to work on algorithms for creating some software to do non-trivial stuff, this will give you the background needed to so that you can figure out how to do it.
Next slide. So this is the second basket, computing systems. And in the first offering, there are three courses we are offering in this particular basket. The first is cryptography and network security, which will be taught by Professor Kameswari Chengrolu. The second is database and big data system internals by Professor Sudarshan, who's here. And the third is introduction to blockchains, which will be handled by myself. Okay, so a little bit about cryptography and network security. So I've already mentioned that there's a course on web security, which will be handled in the first basket by Professor Kameshwari. This will look at some theoretical aspects of cryptography, but also uh, look at systems aspects of network security. So you will get an introduction to the basics of cryptography, but also you will study things like crypt analysis, various cryptographic protocols used. And if you have taken a networks course, you will be familiar with the seven-layer OSI model, or there's also a five-layer model that people discuss, all the way from physical layer to MAC layer to network layer to the application layer. So all of these layers have their own issues. There are attacks possible, for example, on TCP. There are attacks possible at the MAC layer, and so on. And there are various mitigation techniques. There's also things like intrusion, network intrusion, where people hack into a network or a system. So there are methods to address those things like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and so on. So this particular course will cover both the protocols, the basics of the network protocols. You will have a revision of them, but also you will study how these protocols are attacked, how they are defended against. So, for example, if you are a cybersecurity professional working in an organization, how can you make your network more robust? What are the technologies used? uh, or even if there is an attack which has occurred, how do you go about debugging what has happened? That's a non-trivial thing, and you would have to know what are the latest tools used in this particular area. And Professor Kameshwari has developed many hands-on labs, and which you will have to do as part of your coursework. So she will look at various protocols across the networking stack, and by the end of it, you would have fair enough of expertise in this particular area. Okay. So about the database and big data systems, I hand over to Professor Sudarshan to talk a little bit about his course.
Yeah, so all of you know that data is critical for everything today. Every organization today needs to collect store, query a large amount of data, whether it's for processing customer transactions or to do data analytics on the data to query large amounts of customer data. So all big companies need to deal with this. And in India in particular, because of the size of our population, there are many, many companies which need to deal with really large amounts of data. And these things cannot fit on a single computer. They run on a collection of machines which run things in, whether it's transactions or queries, in parallel on that data. So these are referred to as big data systems. So the goal of this course is to give you the concepts and fundamentals of big data systems. But before that, we will start off with the similar concepts at the database internals layer. Now, this is not a course on how to program big data systems, although there will be a little bit of exposure to that. So there will be some small assignments on that. But the focus of this course is to understand how things operate internally. And why is this important? Not necessarily because you go and implement the internals of a big data system, but if you use big data, you should understand how it works. What are the processes, what are the techniques that run internally, so that you can choose the right system, you can tune the right system in the right way to get the performance that you want, and to get the correctness. So there are no issues. If something breaks down, the system shouldn't come to a halt. So these are the kind of challenges which anyone who is running a big data system deals with. And this course is to equip people with the knowledge of how things work underneath the hood so that they can properly use the system outside. It's like when you're driving a car, you don't need to know exactly how the engine runs, but you need to know a few things about how the car is controlled and so forth. This course goes a little bit deeper, gives you some exposure to the engine also so that you can use it optimally, but also tells you how to control things so that you can also control these at a higher level. So there will be some assignments in this course using primarily open source big data systems or open source database system like PostgreSQL. Back to you, Vinay, for the last course. Oh, by the way, this course is running in the coming semester. That is August, September onwards, the database and big data systems course will be offered. Back
Yes.
to you, Vinay.
Yes, so next semester, database and big data system internals will be covered, and along with it, we've already discussed the algorithms and complexity in the first basket that will also be offered. And of course, in the third basket, foundational mathematics of data science. So we'll come to that in the next slide. But a little bit about my course, which is Introduction to Blockchains. So what is this about? Well, blockchains have been in the news for the past few years. Most of you would have heard of things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are the public blockchains, permissionless blockchains, which are quite well known. So this course will cover the basics of blockchains. So blockchains essentially rely on a peer-to-peer network, but in addition, they have something called a consensus mechanism. And in addition, they also have something called smart contracts, and those are the applications or the programs which run on blockchain. So this course will cover the basics of a little bit of peer-to-peer networks, but also some of the consensus protocols used by things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we will also talk a little bit about something called permission blockchains, which are not used in public blockchains like Ethereum or Bitcoin, but which might be used by systems like Hyperledger Fabric. And these would use slightly different consensus protocols, which would give you higher performance. Uh, but maybe they cannot, the trust model would be a little bit different. Right. So we will study about these various consensus protocols, a little bit about peer-to-peer networking. You will get exposed to smart contracts, and as part of the assignments, you will have to write some smart contracts for the Ethereum system, and you will also have to set up your own local blockchain network. So this would be like an Ethereum-based blockchain network, but your own private network, and you will study various performance issues in blockchains. So we will also briefly touch upon some of the latest topics, things like layer 2 scalability solutions. There are things like lightning networks and roll-ups. So if you know that Bitcoin and Ethereum are fairly slow in terms of throughput, you get hardly 10, 20 transactions per second. So there are these clever techniques called layer 2 techniques which try to speed them up, and we will look at a few of them. Okay, so that's a little bit about the introduction to blockchains. So we can move to the next slide. So I'm still seeing the computing system slide. Mohit, we can move on. Yes, so now I see. So the third basket is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And as you all know, this is a super hot subject. And we will be offering 3 courses. So maybe first we'll talk briefly about the second and third courses. So what exactly does AI do, right? So if you have at least a very high level computing system which behaves or almost has the intelligence of a human, sort of we would call that artificial intelligence. And so, what can humans do, right? So, humans understand and speak languages. So, that's the audio. We can communicate with each other. We can discuss, we can summarize, uh, let's say, information that we receive. And that's what the second course covers, natural language processing and generative AI. So the technologies used are things like neural networks, convolutional neural networks, recurrent neural networks, and so on, LSTM networks, right? And so this course will be taught by Professor Pushpak Bhattacharya, who's a leading expert in the area nationally and also internationally. So he will talk about various technologies used in these natural language processing and things like Chat GPT, which is a generative AI technology. So you will get into the depth of the technologies used and study things like large language models, which are used by Chat GPT. Right. So of course, what else can humans do besides language? Many other things. And another thing is we have good vision. We can very quickly grasp a visual picture over a large area. Our brains can process the information. We can identify objects. We can recognize people, right? And so, can we have computing systems which do that? And in fact, that's the area of computer vision. And Professor Sharat Chandran, whose research areas in this field will be teaching this particular course. So you will study things like convolutional neural networks, but various other technologies like filter banks, image filtering, and so on, which is used in computer vision. And you will also explore some applications of computer vision, like classification. Like to say which particular this object belongs to which particular class, right? Is it of class A, class B? Segmentation, which is to divide a particular image into, let's say, various parts, and each part might represent something else. You may have a field and a building and a person in an image. So how do you segment an image into those different, let's say, classes, right? Things like motion analysis, depth prediction, and so on, right? So this is computer vision. There's also natural language processing, but what are the basic mathematical tools used in these, and that will be covered in the first course, which will be handled next semester, in this upcoming semester, in August September, starting in August September. And this course, Foundational Mathematics for Data Science, will be again taught by Professor Sharat Chandran. And so you will study the basic mathematical techniques which are used widely in AI and ML, things like linear algebra, statistics, multivariate calculus, and so on. Right? And you will, some of these, you will also study some applications to get your hands dirty with these various mathematical tools. You will also look at things like automatic face recognition, pose variations, and so on, how to optimize neural networks. And so, not just the mathematical foundation, but you will also have a little bit of applied work in this particular course. Professor Sudarshan, would you like to add anything?
No, I don't have anything to add here.
Okay, okay. So we can move on to the next slide, Mohit. So the just a broad overview of the various tools and languages which will be covered in these set of 9 courses. We've already talked about many of them. Some of the things covered in the security courses would be things like Wireshark and OpenSSL, for example, OWASP. But the other courses will cover especially the first basket will cover things like Python, C++, NumPy, SciPy, and so on. Right. So this is just a high-level picture that you will touch upon many of the tools which are used actively in the industry, and some of them you may be familiar with, some of them you may not be familiar with. And anything else, anything you want to add, Professor Sudarshan, about this, about the tools used? So your course would cover SQL and any other tools?
Yeah. So each course will do two things, right? One is that the course may assume you know certain languages because the course depends on that. And it may also teach you certain other things. So for example, in my course, I assume that you know SQL. I also assume that you know C++, because that is the implementation language for some parts of the course. But other courses will vary. So you have to look out and what are the requirements for each course.
Yes, so my particular course will touch upon some Ethereum smart contracts, and that uses a language called Solidity. So you will have to learn some of the basics of Solidity, but of course, there are lots of tools available out there because Ethereum is a very popular blockchain system. So they have developed and they made freely available several tools for learning Solidity and actually writing smart contracts. So we can move on. So a little bit about the faculty members teaching the various courses. Professor Pushpak Bhattacharya, he will teach the natural language programming course, and Professor Abhiram Ranade, the algorithms and complexity. Professor Amitabh Sanyal, the programs development toolbox. Professor Sudarshan, we have here. He will be teaching the database courses. Professor Kameshwari and Professor Sharath will be each teaching 2 different courses, and I will be handling the blockchain course. Right. So all of us, many of us have our degrees from IIT or from uh, well-known universities, mainly in the United States. We can move on to the next slide. So, Mohit, would you like to take over from here?
Yes, yes, I'll do that. Thank you so much, President Vinay and Professor Sudarshan for the details. So, folks, this is an e-postgraduate diploma from IT Bombay, and a sample of the certificate is on the screen. So, in all respects, this is equivalent to a postgraduate diploma. The only difference being that because it's being offered in an online mode, so there's an E in front of the name, but it's equivalent to a postgraduate diploma, regular postgraduate diploma from IIT Bombay. And as the faculty just described, the courses are on similar lines as any PG level course at IIT Bombay. So yeah, so that's about this. Uh, Before I actually yeah, move on to the next part, I'd also like to take this opportunity to tell the candidates that this is one of the very few such uh, postgraduate diplomas that has been designed in a manner which offers a lot of choices to the candidates to choose from their different buckets. Out in each of these different buckets, there are different types of courses. Typically, you'll get a fixed pattern or something with very limited choice. But I think IT Bombay in that sense is a very learner friendly environment where folks have the freedom to choose what type of paths they want to take up. If you want to specialize in AI/ML, you can take that path. If you want to specialize in programming and software development, you can take that path. If you want to specialize in computing and cybersecurity and big data, you can take that part. So there are lots of opportunities that are available to all the candidates to choose from. And in that sense, I think it's probably the only or one of the very few postgraduate programs that offer this wide array of choice. And so definitely, I think it will be very beneficial to the learners. And yeah, you should definitely think of how this can work out, and what, depending on what career track you want to take up, how some of these can be planned accordingly. So with that, I'll quickly also take a minute and introduce you all to Great Learning. So uh, we are the EdTech partner who are offering this e-postgraduate diploma in computer science and engineering with IIT Bombay, and we are super excited to be partnering with IIT Bombay to bring this to you all. In terms of roles, so as the faculty described, all the academic delivery of the program, right from designing of the courses to delivering and all the academic queries and concerns will be handled by IIT Bombay and the CSE faculty. While the Great Learning team will be taking care of all the non-academic aspects of the program. So you'll interact with the with our counselors in the beginning when you probably put in your inquiry. They'll help you understand more about the e-postgraduate diploma, and right from there, once if you choose to, if you cross the selection process and if you choose to register, then you will be interacting with the program managers who will be a part of the Great Learning team, and we'll handle your learning journey from there on. So a bit about Great Learning. Uh, we have been in around for more than 11 plus years. We have more than 12 million registered learners who are pursuing different courses that we offer across 170 plus countries, and we've delivered more than 440 million learning hours to our learning management platform. We also have one of the highest course completion rates in the industry, which is at 90% and above. And we are consistently rated as one of the best edtech partners in the industry with a very wide network of industry mentors. We also have academic partnerships with some of the world's leading universities, so Harvard, Johns Hopkins, MIT, IIT Bombay, Northwestern, UT Austin, Duke. So all of these are the university partners that we work with and bring their different courses to learners across the world. Uh, so with that, I'll quickly move on to the next portion, which is the eligibility criteria. And there was also a query on this. So the eligibility criteria for e-postgraduate diploma in computer science and engineering uh, will need candidates to have at least one of these from a recognized university. So for candidates who are coming from computer science or engineering or information technology, AI, data science, mathematics, computing background, as long as you have a BE or a BTech or a 4-year BSc or an MSc in one of these domains, which is either computer science or AI, data science or related domain, you are eligible to apply for e-postgraduate diploma. For candidates who do not have formal education in these domains, uh, Among those candidates, those who've completed again a 4-year BSc or a BE or BTech, basically people who've completed a 4-year degree in either engineering or sciences, uh, can still apply, but for those, couple of conditions will be there. So you should either have a qualifying GATE score in computer science or data science, which will make you eligible to apply for the postgraduate diploma. Or if you don't have that, then at least 2 years of relevant work experience in the domain of computer science, artificial intelligence, or data science. Uh, or if you don't have that, then at least a minor in computer science, IT, AI, ML, data science, or equivalent in the programs that offer such minors. For the non-engineering candidates, there's also an option if for those of you who've completed an MCA, if your undergraduate degree is BCA or BSc with mathematics as a subject, you are eligible to apply for the postgraduate diploma. The bottom line is that because this is a postgraduate course with certain expectations from the candidates in terms of the expertise that they bring to the table, the fundamentals that both the faculty members talked about, right? That there is an expectation of, let's say, certain coding knowledge, certain mathematical aspects. So the idea is the candidates need to be aware of that, at least whatever is covered at a UG level. And then, so that's the bare minimum expectation, which is why some of these eligibility criteria are there to ensure that candidates who are coming in have crossed that bare minimum fundamental understanding before they can take the individual courses. If you fall outside of these, you can still reach out to us, and we will, of course, on a case by case basis, discuss your eligibility with the uh, IT Bombay CSE department, and depending on what the faculty and the department decide, we can get back to you if you're eligible to apply for postgraduate diploma or not. With that, I'll move on to the next part. Before that, Professor Sudarshan, Professor Vinay, if you have anything to add here, please go ahead.
I don't have anything to add.
No, nothing from my side.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving on in terms of, so for those of you who are eligible to apply, will have to go through a selection process. It's a 3-step process. Step 1 is an application form. So for those of you who are interested, you can apply for postgraduate diploma by filling out a simple online application form. So you can go to uh, Great Learning website where the program web page is posted. On that, you will find a link where you can either directly apply or you can at least leave your details. Someone from Great Learning team will reach out to you in the business hours to help you understand more about postgraduate diploma. And then if this is something that excites you, you can apply for it through a simple online application form. Once you have applied, you will be expected to take an online test again to assess your foundational knowledge and suitability for the postgraduate diploma. As we just mentioned, because this is a postgraduate level program, there are certain expectation in terms of the fundamental knowledge that candidates need to have, and the online test assesses that foundational knowledge for the same. Once you've cleared the online test, you'll also go through a mandatory screening call with the registration office, where the idea is to understand, what's your interest in taking the course, what's your background, if it is relevant. So it's like a short call that will be conducted to understand, one, your background, two, your motivation, and three, how well prepared you are to take this postgraduate diploma. After that, for those of you who clear all these steps, specifically the online test and the screening, you will receive an offer letter to join the postgraduate diploma. And if you want to confirm your registration, you'll need to pay the registration fee to secure the seat and complete the registration for the postgraduate diploma. Given this starts in late August, so the registration process is currently ongoing. And for those of you who are interested, you can reach out to us. On the Great Learning website, you'll find the program webpage, And I also request folks from the Great Learning team to post the link for the web page in the chat. So for those candidates who want to access it right away, can check it out and let us know if you're interested. Yeah, so with that, this brings us to the end of the agenda for today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat. We'll probably wait for a couple more minutes and then we'll end the session.
So there is one question. If someone has more than 15 years of experience in the IT industry, is this course still relevant for him or her? So Sudarshan, would you like to take that?
Yes, definitely so. This is a technical course, and while you might think that only somebody who's a programmer might want to do the course, somebody who is doing technical management also would benefit from this course because they will learn a lot of concepts which will be directly relevant in the work that they do. So 15 years is a non-issue. Whatever stage you are at, it doesn't matter. But it's not an executive course. It is not a course which teaches you how to, for example, manage a team at a non-technical level. That's not what it is about. It is a technical course.
Yeah, thanks, Professor Sudarshan. And also just to add, as Professor Sudarshan also mentioned some time back, and things have changed drastically in the last 15 years from databases to AI to blockchains. So there's a lot to add in terms of skill sets and in terms of learning. So yeah, definitely, I think this can be helpful. Um, there's a question on eligibility. So you can reach out to us. Sorry, I can't see your name, but you can reach out to the team and share your profile. We will check it and we will get back to you. Because diplomas usually are not allowed, but as we said, we can review this profile and we can get back to you.
So please type in your questions in the Q&A box. The Q&A box is usually at the bottom of the screen. Okay, there is in the chat box. Okay, so some questions are there in the chat box.
Yeah,
So, so I'm looking at Smriti Shekhawat, one of the first questions. Is this webinar related to diploma students? If someone clears GATE and gets admission to IIT Bombay, is there a personal interview before taking admission via GATE? So this program admission is not via GATE. So it's an independent admissions process, independent of the MTech admissions. Okay. So I think Mohit has already explained what are the requirements
correct.
for entering this program.
Then there's a question in the Q&A window. On the fee, folks, it'll be great if you can, as you speak to the Great Learning team and the counselors, they can help you because there's also a inaugural discount that is available to, especially for those who will be joining the first cohort of the program. So you can reach out to the team and they can help you with all the details around this.
Yeah, there's a question there about, will this course help me in the industry or it'll only give me theoretical knowledge? This course is definitely industry relevant. It's not just pure theory, absolutely not. It covers concepts. All the courses that we have to offer will cover concepts, but they will also give you hands-on experience. And they will help you in the actual job which you would do based on these courses.
So there's a
Another
question
Yeah.
on from Nagaraju about eligibility. Again, for that, please contact the Great Learning team. You have a BSc in computer science, so you can check with the Great Learning team
Yeah,
whether you're eligible or not.
correct. I think there's a question on if the candidate doesn't have a strong technical background but want to learn this, should they, uh, can they join? Um, I think I'll maybe take the first crack at it. So, of course, there's a minimum technical understanding that you need to have. And for that, the online test has been designed. So, if you clear the online test, that's at least the first indication that you have the relevant background knowledge. And if you're not able to cross the test, then you will not be able to uh, join this e-postgraduate diploma. Beyond that, I'd like Professor Sudarshan, Professor Vinay to add if there's
Yeah,
anything else.
I'll just add to this. So remember, this is a postgraduate diploma. It is not an undergraduate diploma. So we are assuming that you have done an undergrad course in computer science, or you have done a undergrad course in some other area, but have picked up the relevant material as part of your job. So if you don't have a technical background, this is not the course for you. Okay. Now, if you have done these courses a while back, maybe you don't remember the details, that's okay. You can catch up with some of the background material that we provide and so on. For many of the courses will provide some background material which you can study before you start doing the course. But it is a technical program which requires basic technical background. So that our eligibility criteria are tuned as per that.
So there are a couple of questions about the online test, the syllabus, and what questions to expect.
Yeah. So I'll probably take
Yes.
that. So the online test will be a 1 hour test. It's divided into two parts. Part one is mathematical ability. Part two is programming ability. When it comes to mathematical ability, the questions will be around basics, fundamentals of probability, fundamentals of linear algebra, and basic data handling and data analysis, but very basic data analysis. On programming, of course, there will be questions around various topics of stacks, linked list, or in general, the programming flow algorithms. So yeah, those are the two areas that we are testing in the online test. Uh, Regarding the placement, I'll take this question. So you will be added to a lateral hiring group that IIT Bombay maintains. I think it's a collaboration between the placement office and the alumni. So whatever job opportunities are posted there, you'll have access to that. Of course, given it's a lateral hiring group, you will need to take up the opportunities yourselves with the employer. But yes, once you clear all the courses and you get the postgraduate diploma, you will have access to one IIT Bombay alumni network, second to the lateral hiring group to which you will be added. And yeah, whatever opportunities come there, you will have access to those opportunities. So I think with that, we will close the webinar. We are already at 9:10 and I've crossed the time limit. So we'll close the webinar for now. So first of all, thank you so much, faculty members, Professor Vinay, Professor Darshan for joining in and explaining about the postgraduate diploma in so much detail and also answering the questions with a lot of patience. Thank you so much for joining in. And to all the candidates, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. We hope this was helpful and helped you understand a bit more about e-postgraduate diploma and what it entails, what to expect, and how it can be beneficial to some of you who would like to take the program and register for this. So with that, we'll close the discussion. And if you have any further queries, feel free to reach out to us. The link is available on your screens. So you can go to the Great Learning page, you can leave in your details, and someone from our side will connect with you and help you understand more about e-postgraduate diploma and the processes. And then you can decide from there on. So with that, we'll close the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And yeah, have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.